Welcome to Human Design Mastery. I'm Laveena Archers, your Education Director for Jovian Archive, which is the source of the human design system. So because human design points to mechanical truths that you can absolutely experiment, validate, test, and see if it's right for you to source into, you're going to find that over time, as you align yourself to your most authentic, highest path and purpose, that life changes for you so that your decisions, your relationship, your business, and your business partnership, as we're going to talk about today, actually brings you the kind of fulfillment that you're truly looking for, whether that be satisfaction, success, peace, or surprise. All of that is a signpost of the abundance of spirit that arises from inside. So it is the end of the age of dependencies. I'm sure you've seen that all around the world in your countries, wherever you happen to be. When we unlock the work success secrets of ourselves in partnership, we're going to explore not only our aura or type interactions, but also what kind of definition your human design shows, your natal design, how you're here to make decisions that you trust, which we call strategy, in order for you to be your own authority. And then today we're going to talk about key partnership dynamics. Now, this whole system, Ra wanted us to present to you as an experiment. Reason being is because we're entering into the new age, a new kind of enlightenment, where we're talking about you being your own authority. Again, the end of the age of dependencies. What we're looking forward to, and indeed are already experiencing the benefits of, is that this new era is not just about being an individual, but it's about being your own sovereign, being free to be the nature of being the way that you were designed to be. Now, for a lot of you who are super slaving away at a job that you hate, I have to do this, you might say, that might seem like a pipe dream. But for those of us like here on my team who have tasted the sweet benefits of what it is to be sovereign and free, I know you'll agree with me when you get on the other side of this human design experiment and you know how you're here to actually live and breathe and be yourself in single interactions. Like right now, I'm working alone in my own aura. That's called solo. But two, I have a connection with you. I'm speaking to you personally and specifically. I'm not thinking about all of you. I'm thinking about you, as in you coming into this human design experiment to see what it's like to be yourself in business. So, are you designed to thrive in a one-on-one interaction like all of us who are here on the team, Projectors, are designed to do? Or are you here to be yourself in business, best thriving in a small business, 3 to 5 people? Or are you best in a large group dynamic? That's what you're going to learn in our Mastery series here that we're offering to you complimentary in order that you get a taste for the power that human design holds for you, should it be right for you to experiment with it and see, is it true for you? The sessions that I have for you here are helping to lay the fundamental groundwork here today, specifically of being yourself in partnership. Now we're looking at the keys to your genetic potential. Using your human design blueprint. It's a genetic blueprint for the fulfillment of not only your life's work, but how are you here to interact with others? What work situation, context, set and setting is going to feel most satisfying, peaceful, successful, surprising, what have you, so that you can unlock the success secrets of your human design. Again, we're going to be using some terminology that may be new to you, your aura type, or the frequency that you broadcast, that you emanate, your definition, or the things that are actually colored in your human design chart, and how you might be your own authority. So first things first, remember to experiment. As somebody who is designed to partner, I have a lot of repeating patterns in my design that speaks to the nature of partnership being my sweet spot. It is absolutely one of the benefits of experience that I hold for you, as Naraya did share. I've been teaching human design for 11 years now professionally working with Jovian Archive, source of the human design system, since 2014 as a professional. So if you are going to thrive as yourself, it's always going to be that you hold the key, not me, not Ra. It's you being your own authority. When I say that word, anybody here own authority? Does that sound foreign to you as a concept? We do want to know. Type into the chat if you need a little help with that. Because if you are not able to take responsibility for your decision-making process, you're going to be lost in this new era. 2 more years, less than, truly, as far as the frequency changing and this vast tidal sea of change that we're all surfing. You don't want to get left behind when it comes to being your own authority. It is about sourcing inside of you. No one is coming to save or rescue you. It's time now to step up into your own true authentic being. So again, you need to know yourself first. And to do that, you've got to experiment. The free keys to your divinity, your divine nature of being in physicality are right there on mybodygraph.com. So you will need that chart to follow along today, unless you happen to be one of the professionals that are watching in order to learn more of the deepening of how to do this work. I happen to be an example of that. So the membership is free. The first step is free. Thanks to Ra Uru Hu, founder and first messenger of human design, and his family, who still own and operate the business of Jovian Archive and the family of places that we've curated and developed in order that you can see how to be your own authority. Now, in today's day and age, there is no end to hierarchy. Human beings are designed differently. So to fly in the face of modern humanity, we are not created equal. We are created different. And your aura type, which determines how you're here to interact with others, your definition, which shows you how you're here to process energy, and your authority guides your correct decision-making. Indeed, inside of that, we all have a unique personal destiny, a transpersonal karma, or a fixed kind of fate. Now, ultimately, the end of this movie is we all die. I know if you are someone who has ever had a brush with death, anybody ever had some kind of experience where you came grips to grips face to face with your mortality, and then you're like, okay, time to take this somewhat seriously, not too seriously. I mean, still have some fun here, but actually put into practice the thing that you know to be true about you. Most of the time when people come to design, they find confirmation. They find some permission slip, you could say, to being themselves instead of listening to maybe their mind or everybody around them telling them what to do. It's about ending that dependency. You do not need somebody to tell you what to do. And in partnership, who really wants that? To unlock the work success secrets of your design, well, yeah, sometimes, I'll tell you when we get to story time, sometimes people are looking for, I want somebody to tell me what to do. I want to obey him or her or whatever it happens to be. But that's falling further and further by the wayside. It is not the way of the new era. It's about being your own sovereign, to know yourself deeply and completely. So again, grab your My Body Graph chart. Let's go into the work success secrets of your partnership analysis. Now, as we are part of Human Design Mastery, this is about developing your recognition and your skills for being your own authority. And to put these keys into practice, I'm going to ask you to come away with whatever it is, the most important thing that surprised you. So keep an eye out for that thing that really surprises you about you today. Okay? The thing that you were like, oh my God, that's totally correct. How did you know that about me? Or, you know, I always figured that there was something quote unquote wrong with this or that or the other thing. Whatever it happens to be, what surprises you? It's going to help you learn today as we move through the 4 different work situations. Now, again, solo is about being in your own aura. doing your own thing, being your own boss, whether that be independent contractor or whatever the case may be. Partnership, two ways I see partnership. Now we're talking about being in aura, physically in aura. Partnership I see as, okay, you can have a contract. As an example, I have a contract with Jovian Archive, and that contract is for my work with Human Design Mastery. So that means then my company is partnered with their company. Now that's a very different story than myself and my husband, who are also partnered, not only in marriage, but also in business together. And we live and work together, so we are constantly in each other's aura. Now, we live on opposite ends of the house as far as our day-to-day lives, and our bedrooms are even separated. Now, it's a 6,200 square foot house, so we have lots of space. He is absolutely not in my aura the vast majority of the time when I'm working. So that, even though we are, working together, but separated apart, we can come together for the time engagement where I need him or he needs me, where I borrow his energy. Now, borrowing his energy means, honey, I just need to use your aura. Can I sit next to you while I focus and concentrate? We happen to have one of those channels together. Or, babe, I can't figure this out. Can you please help me? And then together, how can I get my computer screen to work? Or how can I deal with this difficult customer or employee? Truly, I work for my employees because I help provide them money. So I'm bringing in energy, money for my employees to work with me. Now, none of my employees are here in aura with me. However, I still look at our connective field together because in that way, we can see the strengths, the core features of our relational dynamics, the thing where they complement me because I don't have an aspect of what it happens to be that I absolutely need. As an example, I have 2 people on my team who have a gate 2, and I have the 14 on the other side. So in that dynamic, absolutely, when it comes to our relational dynamic, even though we're at a distance, yes, we can still use this information. But primarily and most importantly, when it comes to the small grouping, we're using different keynotes, different language, and we're talking about what happens when the people come together in aura. This auric frequency field changing and new keynotes coming to the fore only happen when you're in person, okay? In person. We'll talk more about that next week. Finally, we have large groupings. The small group happens to be 3 to 5 people maximum. That is the maximum that creates a small group. But when we put 3 of those small groups together, plus 1 alpha, then we have a large group. And those, again, we use different keynotes, different labels, you could say, different energetic availabilities for language to communicate to you what this person actually has within their genetic matrix to do. Okay, so when we're looking at solo, I want you to think about people being independent and productive, because that's what it takes to be in solo business by yourself for yourself. Independently productive. Okay, partnerships, we're looking at one-on-one. It's a synergy of 2 people together. Okay, now when we look at small groups, we're looking at 3 to 5 people. And sometimes those small groups work together in rotating partnerships. So small group, the moment that you've got 3 to 5 people in aura to arm's length distance, now you're talking a whole different can of worms, I want to say, that I'm going to leave off till next week as far as going into now, because we're going to have a whole class on this, thanks to Human Design Mastery. And then the large group. This is about 10 or more people physically in aura. It does not work. The keynotes, the language, the frequency field, the energetic flow, it does not work when you are listening to a podcast. Or here's an example. If you are physically at a stadium, you know that energy when you're watching a ball game or whatever it happens to be? whatever ball you want to play with, okay? If you're in that stadium, you feel a different energy. You can feel, I can feel it. I've got feeling cognition, but you sense, you know, are a part of something more greater than just yourself. When you're sitting at home on the couch watching that ball game, it's a very different story, okay? It's a different energetic frequency, just to understand the basics, the fundamentals. So, understanding which of these 4 work situations are best for you to thrive in, to be the most productive, the most satisfied, peaceful, successful, surprised, fulfilled, is one of the most important keys I can give you. Ra called it comparative analysis. This is one of the most important keys I can give you, the most valuable, the most profound, truly. So, strategy and authority, or being your own authority, making your own decisions that you can trust, is the most important thing that you have, tools in your toolkit, to be successful in business. It is the foundation of all of our success as far as correct decisions, workplace success, you being your own authority. So never make partnership choices from a place of, they said I should, so I'm gonna, or I think I have to, so I must, as in believing the mind story. When we use human design, we're sourcing into the furtherance of our differentiated potential. And that means trusting your own design to be your own authority, to find the right partnerships. So please don't just look at the chart and say, oh, this is going to be amazing, because it's not. There are way too many factors to put into the conversation to look at a chart. In fact, Ra was given the opportunity to have a matchmaking business, and he tore up that contract because he said, nope, this is the epitome of what it is to make a not self or a shadow state decision. We don't want that for you. So remember, please be your own authority. Now, solo, partnership, small or large group. Everybody's going to go through a life experience where you're going to feel, sometimes it might feel better to go solo. And sometimes it might be better to be in partnership. And at other times, you're like, I'm okay with working in the small group. And then some other times, maybe, just maybe, you might want to, for short periods of time or for experience, be in a large grouping. That large grouping, for someone like me, is terrorizing, not to be dramatic. It is quite challenging. It's incredibly awful, to say the least. So you've got to know yourself and experiment with these genetic keys. What is it like for you to have success in the workplace? And it's not about the money. It is about you having the freedom to be what you came here to be, who you came here to be, for the people that are right for you to commune with or to be with. Now, when we talk about partnership, we're truly looking at 2 people physically in aura. 2 people physically, that's what it has to be in partnership. Now, day in and day out, that might not be right for you for many different reasons. For example, I'm a 3rd line, okay? So bonds made and broken are my theme. Coming together, doing my own thing. Oh, and let's communicate together, let's commune, let's share, let's empower each other. And then, nope, I'm doing my own thing. So there's always going to be different times in your life, different seasons of availability, different energy availability, different people, obviously. People are not created equal. You look at that chart and it may look exactly the same on the surface. Even so, there's so much different nuance, subtlety, stuff underneath that you have no idea. Everybody's unique, divinely different. You'll see if you study with us. Now, when it comes to this partnership dynamic, the first step that we want to look at is type, your auric frequency field. Now, your aura builds your body. I like to say that form follows function. Your form, built by your aura, is about the function that you're here to have in this reality currently that we live in. So if you can just experiment with your own strategy for decision making in order to find the peace and abundance of surprise, success, satisfaction, whatever it happens to be for you, inside. And then you're going to find that this carries you through a lot of challenges. So you still get challenges, but they're the ones that are right for you to handle. The next step that we're going to go into is definition. Definition is a lot of the story, but further, we have some special considerations, of which I've only got a handful. There's so many on this particular topic, and it has to be that we look at it in context with charts. So that's when we're going to go look at charts together, if it's right for you to do so. Now, this cross of the sleeping phoenix, a word you may have been hearing bandied about, is a new era, a background frequency shift that we're moving into in 2027 to 2439. This is actually going to be a time of where traditional business structures will shift. You're already seeing that because tribal loyalty is fading, because the new era is about being self-directed, self-empowered. It is about entrepreneurial endeavors. That's why you see entrepreneurial empowerment on the rise, people being their own boss, doing their own thing. And individual decision-making really is the key factor when it comes to successful partnerships. Here is the biggest lie. I have heard professionals actually teach who don't know what they're talking about because, one, they haven't studied the system deep enough from the source, Ra'uruhu, or two, they weren't paying attention in class. I don't know. But here's one of the biggest unfortunate things I've ever heard from a student in my class, a very highly educated student. She was a mental projector, highly educated. I mean, taken all the things. Her first analyst told her that she had to follow her husband's sacral response rather than her own personal process of soundboarding, her own self-reflected consciousness, her own communication. So when it comes to partnership, please don't look down at a chart and say, well, the two of you are emotional together, so you've got to make emotionally based decisions. Wait for clarity. I'm sorry, but that's not the way that it works. See, sorry, not sorry. It's not the way that it works. You have to be your own authority. Even so, when it comes to you two being together in partnership. So example, you've got somebody like this. They're designed to be responsive and fast. I mean, this one, especially in the not self, they'll be really fast. Okay. Their partner, because oftentimes what you'll find is the two people together, you'll see they look like puzzle pieces. Okay. The other person's emotional. So it means then you have to work a little bit harder to meet in the middle when it comes to what's right for both of you. Okay. So it's not about looking at the chart and trying to make up reasons why you should be what the partnership chart is. Now, true story, here's a quote from Ra. You never know your partner. You only know the thing the two of you become, unquote. It's a joke. I mean, seriously, not seriously. It is interesting to know that you will never know who your partner really is. I have a husband who's a 5-1. People get projected onto all the time who are 5-1s. And he's an undefined G center. I only know myself with him. I only know him with me. I do not know him in relationship to his friends. I can hear sometimes on the phone or see, but I don't know him really, truly. So the most important thing besides knowing yourself and the other is knowing what happens when the two of you come together in partnership. Partnership is the whole basis around which we build teams. So it's important to understand this before we go into the small groupings. Now here we have a manifestor, Ra'uruhu's chart, and here we have my chart, a projector. Never met the man. Have listened to thousands of hours of his teachings, but have never met him. So obviously, if I put the two together, I don't really have a connection with him because he died before I started working for Laveena Archive. But there are connective fields between me and the man that I can resonate to when it comes to listening to his frequency or feeling his energy as I'm watching him teach. So That's not to say that you can't actually commune or connect with other people remotely. I'm showing you the extreme example. The man's dead. Obviously, I'm not having a relationship with him. However, because I have fully immersed myself into this system experience, I can come to grips with some of the things that he teaches or has trained us professionals to say. And one of those things is, are you going to be comfortable working in partnership? Let's go ahead and dive into that, shall we? Now, if we look at this chart together, let me grab a pen here. What you'll notice, first off, is that there is a split between my authoritative channel and the rest of our connective field. So in person, in aura, if I was with him, we would still have a split in the relationship. That means if we were to put our finger on one of these centers, these colored in centers, and try to sail like a boat through channels of energy to find the hookup to the rest of the design, we can't get there. We can't. There is no consistency of energy. That immediately poses a problem. Sometimes we might not be able to commune or communicate. Example, Laveena's sun is here, Mercury and Mars. So I oftentimes have difficulty communicating my feelings. The emotions are tucked down inside of me. They're not reaching the throat. So sometimes what I've noticed in relationships like this is that I won't say anything. It will take me, even with my husband, it'll take me a while to cycle through my emotional wave, process what happened, what he's saying, or what, I want to say. And then days later, I'll say something to him. Now, if you don't know that about your partner, imagine you're partnering with me and you're one of those spontaneous people. You're off there doing your thing and you're like, doing response or whatever. You're a manifesting generator with no emotional authority. To know that about your emotional partner, that, hey, this person needs more time to process, a little slow on the uptake sometimes, that oftentimes the best way that my mind learns is I'm thinking, processing about conversations from that morning. And then the next day I come back to the person and say, hey, have you thought about this? Have you considered that? And that's one of the reasons why I love these courses, because it gives me more time with you. I don't have energy to do one-on-ones, but to maximize energy, resources, and potential. People who are projected like me really like that sweet spot, especially if we're someone who is built to contribute to a small or even large grouping. It maximizes our energy. We're non-energy types. So there you have just a small snapshot of the things that we can look at. Now let's talk about type, or your form. What's your form? What's your auric frequency? We just talked about the manifestor and projector, and in leadership success, we are going to go into all 16 variations of relational dynamics that you might have. For now, let's talk about the types as a big picture view. Overall, generator and manifesting generator as a subtype, they are one type. They are designed for sustainable work. If you're a generator, you have the energy to respond, to be available to generate energy, to get the work done. So if you're like, well, I don't have a lot of energy, there might be something else going on. You're not responding, as in there's nothing for you to respond to right now. So that energy is not there. Or you've got some kind of health-based issue that's going on, adrenal fatigue, thyroid issues, what have you. A generator is designed to thrive when they're asked. So you manifestors out there, it's not about telling them what to do, even though that tends to come natural for you. Generators are here to work best with partners who respect their response ability, their ability to respond, who ask laser-focused questions, one concept at a time. So generators, to have a partner who respects your energetic frequency, who doesn't boss you around and tell you what to do, who knows you, obviously you can see that that is a very different kind of partnership. And it has to do with the basis of our fundamental nature, our reality, of which our auric frequency builds our body. So when we look at the generator, they can work you, if you have this, you are a generator, that red sacral square on the body graph. You can work very well in the right partnership. The right partnership for you gives you response and energy. When you have that energy and that freedom to use your energy in a satisfying way to be who you are for yourself with no apology, you're going to find that life shifts for you, that truly it is an inevitability that you come to the grips with being your own authority if you can follow either your sacral response, that red sacral energetic availability, a rise of energy, or a fall, a no. Or if you're emotional as well, to wait for clarity about the response that you get moment by moment by moment, okay? If we look at the generator, which is an energy type, and we look at the manifestor, which is another energy type, those two together can often work, but it's not the same kind of story as what it is when we have a projector and a generator working together. Those two, amazing. They are the engine that runs humanity, basically, because we're talking about almost 70% plus the 20% of the population. That's a lot of human beings. Manifestors about 10, reflectors about 1%. So the vast majority of human beings, and at work especially, these two, and in partnership, you're going to find them coming together. Now, a projector thrives in recognition. Recognition is a two-way street. Invitation to the big things in life, what to do for work, where to go to live, who to love, who to bond with, is the projector's strategy. Now, their authoritative principle is whatever it happens to be. Very complex creatures. Run your chart and you'll see. Projectors work best with those who acknowledge their guidance and their advice. The immediacy of the projector feeling drained in interaction with another is a big, huge red flag and a signpost. What happens is because the projector is running around trying to get other people to see them, that they accept any and all recognition, even without a formal invitation, to the detriment of their energy frequency, their availability to be successful. Guiding the other in their work is the primary factor for a projector to have its success. In partnership, this is ideal because one-on-one is the sweet spot for the projector. Projectors are here to know who the other is, to be advisors who can guide. So if you don't have systems mastery as a projector, how sad for you, because nobody's going to come to you for advice, guidance, wisdom, support, empowerment, sharing, what have you. So the most important thing you can do as a partner in business, as a projector, is to study. It's to master a system either of knowledge or a process, whatever it is that happens to tickle your fancy, as in, what is the thing that's going to help you get the other person to know themselves so that they can be satisfied or successful or peaceful or surprised? This is what you're here to do, advise and guide. Now, we have these who are very rare, not just the manifestor as we have discussed, but the reflector. We're going to begin with manifestors. And the reason I separated this, normally you see people going manifestor, generator, projector, reflector. Separated this like this on purpose. These are energy types. These are non-energy types. But the manifestor and the reflector have a protective frequency field around them. Kind of like you can see with the manifestor, an auric bubble. So they really are designed to be independent and free, no matter what their definition has to offer. The best partnership for a manifestor is one that gives them freedom of action. They have to inform in order to reduce resistance, and they work best when partners respect their need for initiation and maintaining control, especially if they have a design that shows they either need to be in charge or in control. So partnership as an aura type. You are here to initiate in order to impact through your freedom of action. So if that partner of yours doesn't give you freedom of action, first you're going to get irritated, then you're going to get angry. Informing others is the key to peace. So let's say, as an example, you're a 3, whatever kind of 3 profile manifestor. You know, like me, you need some space. You need some time alone. Break the bond, make the bond, break the bond. You have to be in charge of making that bond. You don't have to wait for somebody else to initiate. And this is one of the challenges, especially for female manifestors, that I see. It's your job, your responsibility to initiate, to inform in order to have peace. Now, in partnership, a reflector is designed to be the mirror of their environment. So in a relationship, you're going to find that if you have a relationship with a reflector, that you meet different aspects of them over the lunar month, but also that you're just getting yourself back from the other because they're a reflector, literally. They thrive in partnerships that respect their need for space and time to have their own lunar process. So in partnership, if you are a reflector, reflecting and enlivening, uplifting the energy of others, reflecting the energy of others, like a cosmic judge. So you can work in partnership, but ideally your sweet spot is more in the large grouping, and we'll talk more about that as we continue on in this masterclass series. Now, I know you have questions. Feel free to use the chat. Feel free to use Q&A, and our assistants will commune with you. Next, we're going to go a little quicker over definition because you've already gone through solopreneur, most likely. If not, I do recommend watching that one first. So we're going to do a quick recap. How do you process information? This is about assimilating information through all of your circuitry. If you look down at your body graph, see it as a circuit board. I want you to see your body graph as a business. All of those solid channels between colored in centers, the colored in geometric shapes inside of that body graph, those are what you're here to do. It is the action or awareness or availability inside of you. Assimilation is how you process information based upon all of the relational dynamics between all of the channels that you have. So it's how you process or take in information. Real quickly, we have single definition, who tends to process information independently. We have basic splits, 2 areas of definition, tends to process information in collaboration. We have triple splits, 3 areas of definition that tends to process large amounts of information in a synthesizing way. And then we have our quadruple split. The quadruple split, 4 areas of definition. And these are really, they're looking for specific others, just like the basic splits. But they're very much subjective when it comes to how they process information. Look at the difference, vast difference, between a quadruple split, so many islands of definition. They're either going to have all 9 centers or maybe 8 defined, colored in, comparatively to no inner definition, no definition. That's the reflector. So these 2 quite rare, okay, really rare. When it comes to partnership, the ideal in partnership is the basic split and the quadruple split, where the quadruple split is looking for 2 different people that hook them up in a very specific way. They play favorites, okay? So that's what they're looking for. Basic splits, collaborative, you are built for partnership. No matter what your type happens to be, you're more likely to be more satisfied, successful, peaceful, having the right people, allies to work with, to collaborate with, to commune with. It really is that simple. But, of course, there's other factors, so let's continue to dive in. In our genetic wiring, remember, the neurons that fire together wire together when it comes to your genetic potential. Look at your body graph. The stuff in black is your personality. The stuff in red is your physiology, okay? personality of the black is the way that you see yourself. The red is the way that other people see you. This is what you broadcast that your mind has no idea that you're putting out into the world. So when it comes to definition, we bring both calculations into the body graph and we see the relational dynamic between yourself and yourself, especially if you happen to be a basic split like me. Now, when we look to the nature of each definition, real quickly, single definitions have challenges when it comes to partnership. It's just the nature of what it is to be singly defined. As in, you don't need an other in order to process information. It goes through all of your circuitry without requiring an other person. The difference between that and a basic split is huge. Now, there are 3 different configurations of the basic split, but all of us are looking for the right partner, the ideal partnership. Life makes so much more sense when you're with somebody in business or otherwise that helps you feel like you're connecting with yourself or with them even, true. So it can be ideal to partner as a basic split. However, triple split can partner. It's not necessarily ideal, especially if that triple split is being bridged by the partner, as in when we put the 2 charts together, we see everything connected up into one singular flow of energy. It can feel entrapping. It can feel uncomfortable. It can feel not freedom giving or loving. It just doesn't feel good to the triple to be locked in all the time to the same being. Whereas with a basic split, oh yeah, baby, you complete me. You make me feel whole. In business and in life, I can talk to my husband in that way because he does absolutely bridge the split for me. So more neurons firing, in order to have that kind of communion, it is ideal for a basic split to partner, not with just anybody, the right person. And that always comes down to you being your own authority, okay? Not what other people think of you or what they think you should do. Triple splits can partner, but it's not necessarily the ideal. They need freedom of movement. Quadruple split, we're looking at people, again, who play favorites, and they're looking for a certain kind of being. Just like the basic split is looking for a certain kind of being, quadruples are looking for 2 different kinds of being. So they may partner, alternating partnerships, we'll say, or favorites at the office. And it's not necessarily that they're always going to feel uncomfortable having one person bridge them entirely like the triple split, but to have different ways of being bridged, but specifically according to their preference or predisposition is going to be more satisfying or successful or peaceful, what have you, for this quadruple split to experience. And so those are some of the keys. Now, this last one, again, with the no definition, they could partner, the reflector, but it's not necessarily, it has to be the right person always, not necessarily going to be the most productive for them because they are really well built for a larger grouping, the right larger grouping. So having gone through all of these different definitions, now you've got a key to not only knowing yourself, but also the other when it comes to your experience. What's it like for you? Did you find anything surprising, if this is new to you especially, that the single definition can be independent? So here's an example. Frustrated because nobody can keep up with you. Do you find that to be true? You don't need to rely on other people to bridge or find the other half missing piece. Not like the basic split. Basic splits, we need an other to feel that sense of unity, wholeness, congruency. For me, it's a consistency that I get with my partner. Triple splits, we're looking at movement. Movement is the most important thing for you. At the very top of the hierarchy of information that I've gotten or gleaned from human design. So learn from my systems mastery. Triple splits, you need movement. Naraya can speak more to that if you have any questions of her. She's there in the chat, of course, in the course as well. Quadruple splits, working best when it comes to two different people that bridge its splits in a way that it specifically likes. Because it is designed to be quite subjective, that partner needs to be somebody who has a lot of openness, ideally, that they can, let's say, mold more to the quadruple, because the quadruple cannot mold to you. See the openness, the white areas in your body graph as flexibility and fluidity. It truly is where the sweet spot happens to be as far as you making money in business. And you learn that in personal success.